I suppose you're all wondering what this is about. Very, very good, Otto. I have decided to change my will. And I thought it only fair for my dear children, you, Karen, and you, Venetia, and, of course, my dear son, Bobby, oh, and Otto, my business partner, to know what my intentions are. Thank you, Karen. Not that I expect to pop off in the next minute or so. Oh, what a cheerful bunch.
Now, Mr. Cunningham, this tea will be much better for you than whiskey.
Oh, if you say so. Now, in view of your complete lack of affection, both before and since your dear mother died, I have decided to leave everything I have to the upper wedding unmarried mother's home. That should benefit a lot of people, except, of course, my dear son, Bobby. Nothing to say, Bobby?
Yes. Goodbye, Father.
Oh, put it away, Bobby. You'll never learn how to handle a gun. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Now, when I have signed this tomorrow, everything will go to... Ooh. Ooh. Ow! Oh! Ow!
My. It's the slowest bullet I've ever seen.
Welcome back to Whodunit. Yes, which way did he go? Was it poison in his cigar, his whiskey, his tea, the sugar in his tea? Or did the bullet from that gun really walk across? A nice little puzzle for this week's panel, which consists of two lady sleuths, Anna Dawson and Joyce Blair. Plus a magician, David Nixon. And one of his best tricks, Cardew Robinson. Right, let's get back to the story. First, I must warn you of two things. Somebody is bound to lie. But far worse, the action takes place in France. And that idiot detective we saw in Monte Carlo a few weeks ago has somehow managed to get assigned to this case with his assistant, Raymond Luce. So watch out. It is the return of Ferdinand Charrier.
So, Monsieur Bobby, you just sat there and murdered your father in lukewarm blood.
Don't be daft, Ducky. They're only blanks. Look.
Hey, give that to me.
Oh, Mama,
Right,
slip.
Monsieur Cunningham, you will be charged with intent.
And what?
Camping about. That's the trouble with you English. You always love a big bang.
All right, it was a bit dramatic, dear, but you must understand. Daddy was about to cut us all off.
Cut you off? Cut you off?
That goes for my sisters, Karen and Venetia, too, sweetheart.
Raymond, there's something rather queer about this murder. Now then, monsieur, you are...
I am the deceased junior business partner. My name is Rathaus, I'm sorry to say.
Well, don't worry, monsieur. I have nothing against Scotsmen.
I come from Frankfurt.
Just as I thought. You see, he's a leftover from the '74 World Cup. What do you mean, crowd? No, exactly, Mr. Rathaus. What does your company do?
We are licensed patent consultants.
Of course you are. Now, does anybody here know what that means?
It's a typical bourgeois capitalist activity, which means that I'm the left winger of the family.
She does not look like a footballer to me.
I just happen to believe in the Leninist ideals.
Oh, Lenin now, is it? What happened to Karl Marx, then?
He's buried in Highgate, dear.
Make a note of that, Raymond. They've already killed somebody else. Now then, Miss Think Tank.
Hinch, bang.
Oh, pardon, mademoiselle. as PA to the deceased, did you arrange this little gathering?
Yes, Mr. Cunningham asked me to summon everybody over here to France for a meeting at 3 p.m. today.
And did any of you know of the change of will before you got here?
No.
Somebody's got to be lying.
I'm afraid they all are.
The girl was right. We should never have let them into the common market.
You see, when I contacted each one 2 days ago, I also happened to mention what the change in the will was.
But what about...
And before you ask, I am not a beneficiary of the will.
Oh. Any ideas, Raymond?
Yes, monsieur.
Well, good. Use them.
All right. We can assume that Monsieur Cunningham was poisoned.
What?
And we will start with the whiskey. Where did this come from?
I gave it to him. I'm Karen.
Aha. But did somebody see you pouring it out?
Yes, I think I can help you there. You see, I was sitting in here talking to Philip just a few minutes before the meeting.
Well, I'm afraid, Otto, that's the way it's going to be, and I must stress. Ah, Venetia, I wish you would learn to knock. You're a bit early, dear.
Don't worry, Philip. As a matter of fact, I brought over a box of 25 duty-free Havanas for you. I left them in my briefcase there, so I'll fetch them.
That's very good of you, Otto.
Aha! Having an early sun upper?
Sundowner, Otto. And no, I'm just pouring a whiskey for Father. Have you two finished?
Yes, I just brought your father's box of cigars.
Oh, well, if they're sealed, perhaps you'd like to use this.
No, I always use this.
Oh, don't tell me. You have ways and means, hmm?
That's done it.
Did you bring any new German inventions back with you? Like a microwave oven?
Always making jokes in bad taste.
Oh, you must develop a sense of humour, Otto. Or even better, start one. Do you want any help?
No, I will do it. There you are. At opening cigar boxes, we are the master race. Now, shall we proceed with our bribes?
Oh, I put too much in. Oh, well. Waste not, want not. That's better. Thank you.
Ah, here you are. Oh, how thoughtful of you, Karen. Not to say unusual.
One from the wood, I think.
Absolutely right, Otto. Well, now we're all here. Please sit down, and let's get on with it. I suppose you're all wondering what this is about.
And the rest of what happened up to his death, Inspector Charrier, we've told you already.
Thank you, Monsieur Ratbag. And may I say how well you have mastered the German accent.
Just a minute. I poured the whiskey from the left-hand bottle, not the right-hand bottle as he described it.
Raymond, surely a Scotsman can tell one bottle of scotch from another.
But I am a German.
Oh, you're the
The left-hand bottle is all right, monsieur.
Well, taste the left-hand bottle, Raymond.
Mind you, I could have made a mistake about the bottle, but the rest of the story was true.
A likely story.
Yes, the rest of his story is true.
A more than likely story.
Arsenic.
What?
This one has arsenic, monsieur.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I thought you mean it's poison?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why bother to get your father whiskey from out here?
I don't follow.
Because
We will follow.
I would have thought that all the family knew that Mr. Cunningham kept his favourite brand in here.
Now, that is what I call rich.
Rich, monsieur?
Being able to afford 3 bottles of whiskey at the same time.
Welcome back. Philip Cunningham is still very much dead and didn't even get a chance to change his will. His daughter Karen has been playing around with whiskey Mickey Finns. His other daughter, Venetia, is about to burst into 2 choruses of the Red Flag. His business partner, Otto Rathaus, looks as if he'd stepped straight out of the Odessa file, and the son, Bobby, looks as if he stepped straight back into something similarly nasty. Carol is Philip's secretary, and Raymond Luce is about to taste the whiskey in the drawer.
Perfectly all right, monsieur.
Which proves...
Proves what, monsieur?
that he wasn't trying to commit suicide. Now, Monsieur Rat...
House?
This is murder, Raymond, not bingo. Monsieur Krauthaus.
Rat!
See, I've got him on the run already. Have you still got the knife you used to open that cigar box?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Here it is.
Oh, now, Raymond, you may borrow that, please. I want you to check this for the fingerprints and also the blade points.
Blade points?
Yes, you see, if he had some poison on the point of the blade, when he prized open the box, he could have stuck it into the cigar that Mr. Cunningham smoked.
A load of bosh.
What?
Bosh!
I know you are, monsieur. I'm terribly sorry, because your Scottish accent had me fooled earlier. Now then, where do you get these cigars from?
London Airport. I went to London first to watch the football match. I'm sorry to say that we Germans managed to beat the English for once at their national sport.
Yeah, don't be shy, monsieur. After all, they've beaten you Germans twice at your national sport.
Monsieur, it is difficult to tell, but when I tested the blade, there were traces of weed killer on it.
That's because I used it in the garden.
And how big is your garden? In a matchbox you keep it?
What difference does it make? I have no motive. After all, the change in the will wouldn't affect me.
Oh, really? Mr. Charrier, when I was waiting for the meeting, I got tired of standing about outside, so I happened to overhear part of the conversation. Has Otto finished his meeting yet?
No, he's still talking to Hitler.
Poppy, that is not a very nice way to talk about your father.
Yes, I'm sorry. Adolf was considerably nicer.
Nonsense, Otto, you will find the capital somewhere.
But if you suddenly drop dead, I couldn't even cover the overheads. And if I couldn't find the money in time, I'd go bankrupt.
Well, I'm afraid, Otto, that's the way it's going to be. Ah, Venetia, I wish you would learn to knock.
So it turns out that our Otto does have a motive after all.
The English are a nation of doorkeepers.
Thank you, Mademoiselle Venetia, for that good news.
And the bad news, monsieur, could be if Venetia offered that collar to her father after poisoning it.
So don't panic.
Are you all right, monsieur?
Yes, apart from the fact I think my heart has stopped. Oh, thank you for that.
That's that.
Not quite. According to Venetia's story, she didn't touch the milk in the fridge.
That's right.
But when I went into the kitchenette later, it was not where I'd left it.
You mean somebody has moved the kitchenette?
No, the milk. Let me show you.
Right. You two stay here. And you were sitting here when the milk moved?
That's right, with Bobby right next to me.
Chance would be a fine thing.
You see, I left the milk on this shelf, but after Venetia had been in, I noticed it had been moved over there.
Yes. Yes, very nice almond flavour. So, to take the taste of that dreadful cola
Monsieur,
away...
monsieur. Bitter almond flavour, monsieur.
I know, Raymond, and very nice too.
Monsieur, cyanide.
Are you trying to poison me?
No, I rather think Venetia is, monsieur.
Oh, you're trying to poison me.
I've no reason to kill you, monsieur.
Oh, glad I'm not father of this lot.
It's mutual, Ducky.
Will you stop creeping up behind me like that? Now then, after Venetia went through to see her father, did you make the tea or was it Miss Stinkbank?
I did. Just after Venetia had gone through into the office, I came in here to prepare it. That's funny.
Carol, Adolf is calling from his bunker.
coming. Yes, Mr. Cunningham.
Oh, Carol, bring in the you-know-what, will you?
Right, Mr. Cunningham.
I trust he's not referring to me.
No. Your time is coming up in a moment.
Anyway, I would have thought you'd be the last person to be worried about it. Oh, thank you, Carol. Now, it's almost 3 o'clock, so you'd better make sure that Bobby is ready, if the other two are in there.
Right, Mr. Cunningham. You may go in now.
Promises, promises.
I wish that boy would leave things where he found them. And then I finished making the tea and joined the others just as Mr. Cunningham was telling them about his change of will.
Mm-hmm. And did you move the honey?
Yes, honey.
Any more of that and I'll smack your wrist, you naughty boy.
Well, I just popped in for a tick, and being a tidy soul, I put the honey back on the shelf. If you're so fussy, I'll put it where I found it.
Just a moment, just a moment. We don't want you trying to commit suicide. Raymond, you test it. So, Miss Winchcrank, it was you who put the honey in the tea.
Oh, yes. Mr. Cunningham had a slight cold. It's one of my little specials.
A sort of a kill or cure?
Just a cure, monsieur. The honey is perfectly all right. But what about the...
The bag? You can't call her a bag, Raymond. It's the bag.
No, monsieur. The tea bag.
Oh, the tea bag. Yes, where's the tea bag?
I dropped it in the waste bin.
Raymond, search this. Now, I trust that none of you have been monkeying around with the tea bags.
It's more likely chimps, dear.
Chimps?
Chimps.
I don't get that.
No, I monsieur.
They're revolting, those things, aren't they, without the string attached?
Strychnine, monsieur.
You mean you can even tell the manufacturer's name?
No, monsieur, strychnine is a poison.
I know that, Raymond. There's no need to inform everyone else. So, somebody has been tampering with these little perforations. Everyone back in the office, please.
Monsieur, what shall I do with this?
It's evidence, Raymond. Put it in your pocket. Trust Monsieur Cunningham didn't take sugar in his tea as well.
Oh, no. I know his habits very well.
Including the naughty ones.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that I love hearing about people's naughty habits. But I was also wondering about your relationship with your late employer.
Well, there's nothing naughty about it. Philip and I were planning to get married.
Oh, you'd have looked smashing in white.
Well, don't worry, mademoiselle. You look even better in black. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't quite mean that. It's rather...
Monsieur, would you mind?
Oh, Raymond.
Would you mind if I sat down? I feel a little bit ill since you have made me taste all that poison, huh?
Yes, I'm sorry, Raymond. Please sit down. Just relax here and make yourself comfortable. You look terrible. I will take care of everything. Now, pay attention, everybody. I can now tell you that you will all be charged with murder shortly.
What? Murder?
But you will just have to wait for a moment.
How long for?
Only until my assistant Raymond drops dead.
And I'm sure you're glad to know that Raymond Luce has survived and has joined the rest of the cast in the studio, including my suspect number one, you-know-who. Right then, panel. Are there any bits of cigar, whiskey, cola, milk, tea, or honey that you'd like to see again? Cardew, what would you like to see again?
I would like to see the little part where the lady put the bags, if you pardon the expression, in the tea, making the tea, the actual tea bags in the cup.
Bags into tea. Right, that shall be done. Anna Dawson, what would you like?
I want an instant replay of Cardew's brain. I want the same.
You want the same?
Yeah. I'll tell everybody that you're Les Dawson's father.
David Nixon.
I wonder if you would show me again the bit where the suave Otto is opening the box of cigars with the knife. The moment when he turns to the left and slits along the side of the seal.
Right.
At the bar.
Shall be done. Yes, Joyce.
I would like to see where Venetia goes into the kitchen, coming from the outer office, going into the kitchen, and goes to the refrigerator and opens it. You get a shot of inside the refrigerator, and she has a little look around and then takes out the Coke. That scene.
You don't want much, do you?
No.
Good. Well, while we're finding those bits, let's have a question from each of the panel. Cardew, start the ball rolling.
Well, start off, it's very nice to be back on Who Done It, or as I prefer to say, Who Did It. I'd like to start off by having a question to Bobby, because I have a feeling about you.
Well, may I say? I've got a feeling about you, too.
I'm sorry, I'm promised. Now, that business with a gun, I'm worried about that. I mean, we all know it was only a blank gun, but I have a feeling that you're bent.
Would you rephrase that, Mr. Robinson?
You were bent on frightening your father to death.
Yes, yeah. Well, you know, I mean, he always kept it in the drawer because he liked to scare burglars with it, you know, because he's a funny old fella. And I thought, well, you know, make a nice big bag.
You didn't want to kill him, though?
Oh, no.
Just in fun?
Yeah.
Yes, well, I can see you have a nose for a villain, can't you?
I've got a villain for a nose.
Yes, Anna.
The three of you, which one's the eldest?
I am.
Do you all get on?
Well, I get on quite well with Bobby. I mean, we've got the same sense of humour.
But Venetia, you don't get on so well with?
Well, she's a bit of a bore, darling.
I see. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, David Nixon.
Mr. Herr Rathaus, am I allowed to ask him, John, if he will do some mime for me?
Absolutely.
Would you
ask him to do what you like?
Thank you. Would you please, Herr Rathaus, would you stand up and go through the motions of opening that cigar box for me?
Certainly.
Do you happen to have the knife, the actual knife?
I have not, because
No,
that's
I
in
have-
the hands
I
of
have-
police.
I have the knife here, David.
May I see it?
You may see it, yes, but then he can't see it at the same time.
Can you
There we
promise
are.
that that is the
Now,
actual
do you
knife?
hand that to David Nixon.
This really is the knife, is it?
That is the actual knife, yes.
It is, yes. I
And
see.
what did you want him to do?
Well, I just wanted him to go through the motions
Well,
of
I can
opening.
mime it for you.
Mime it for me,
Yes,
please.
certainly.
Yes, if you
want
would.
me to stand up for this?
If you wouldn't mind, yes. Yes.
So, I hold it like this.
Yes.
I've opened the knife, and I cut it like this.
That way, with your right hand. Yes. Have you ever done any conjuring tricks?
No.
No, I can see that. Yes.
Thank you very much.
And
Mr.
it's a rotten prop maker you go to, too.
Thank you, David Nixon. Yes, Joyce Blair.
Yes, I'd like to ask Carol a question. If you knew all of your boss's habits, how come you made him a cup of tea and you very carefully put the tea bag in the cup, and then you went to the refrigerator to get milk, and you looked for the milk, but then you closed it and you didn't put milk. You put honey in his tea. Why did you do that? Why did you change your mind?
It was just an absolute matter of habit.
A matter
And I
of-
usually make tea with milk. And this time, because he had a slight cold, I was going to put honey in, but it was sheer habit. I just went to the fridge and thought, no honey.
Yes, I think that's perfectly normal, Joyce. I think if you've got a cold, you know, you wouldn't put honey in with milk and tea, would you? You'd put it in black tea. Good, well, that's the buzzer for the first replay, and this is yours, David. You want to see Otto Rathaus watching Karen pouring out a large whiskey, at the same time slitting open the cigar box with his so-called garden penknife. A clever trick, if you can do it. Watch the screen.
Oh, don't tell me. You have ways and means.
That's done it.
There, David. Now you should be absolutely dead on.
Completely. The whole thing is cut and dried now. I'm so confused, I might as well go home.
Well, don't go yet. Not for another half hour. Yes, Joyce.
Yes. Actually, I would now like to ask Venetia a question. Surely you are left-wing. You used to be a Marxist, and now you're now with which group?
Leninist.
The Lenin group. Now, you wouldn't really want to benefit from any money, would you? I mean, what would you do with it?
Well, actually, yes, I would, because I need it for our cause, and also for flowers for Lenin's tomb in Moscow.
Oh, really?
Yes, there you are. Ask a silly question. Anna Dawson.
Mrs. Charrier.
Hello.
Did Carol have a motive?
Did Carol have a motive? I don't know, I lost it.
Mais non, of course not. No motive. After all, she knew in both wills what was happening, and there was no monies. Monies?
No monies.
No monies for her, so there was no motive.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Thank you.
Merci bien, Monsieur Charrier. Yes, there you are. You have your answer.
Thank
Yes, Cardew. Oh, there, we're ready for the next replay. This is yours, Joyce. You want to see Venetia dribbling down the left wing into the kitchenette in order to retrieve a cola from le icebox. So watch carefully. How does that grab you?
Just about there.
Any help?
Why did you, Venetia, why did you pause when you looked in the refrigerator? I mean, surely if you wanted a Coke.
Well, actually, I wanted a lemonade, but as there wasn't one, I went for the Coke.
I see.
Fair enough. Cardew Robinson.
We can't have the body up, can we?
No. The body's down for good.
I'd like to ask him who did it. So, in its place, I'll ask Otto. Otto, what is it? Rat House.
Yeah.
Do you get annoyed when people call you things like workhouse, cookhouse, or slaughterhouse?
I don't understand it.
Neither do I, but anyway. When you said, that's done it, when you were opening the box, did you mean that's done it because you had done it, or that's done it because you couldn't do it? What do I mean? No, because you put the knife in, you said, that's done it, but then you hadn't opened it. Now, were you saying that because you thought at that moment you had done it? I don't mean done the crime, done the box, or were because you couldn't get the thing into, and I wish my mother was here, she'd help.
Thank you, Cardew Robinson. Mr. Rathouse, can you find time, do you think, to answer
Well, I
that?
think I can elucidate it, yes. You see, I wanted just to tell Karen that I, as a German, can actually open a cigar box.
Yes, a very good answer. Yes, thank you. Yes, Joyce.
I didn't know Germans couldn't open cigar boxes. No, I would like to actually ask Karen something very personal. Where did you get your sweater?
Well, actually, Bobby knitted it for me.
Yes.
He's a whiz with the needles.
David.
Is that true?
David Nixon.
Is that true?
Absolutely true, yes.
Would you do one for me, do you think?
Certainly.
Incidentally, Bobby, at what point did you move the honey?
Oh, I was doing my nails.
I remember.
Just sitting doing the nails.
Do you, incidentally, while we're thinking of it, do you always file your nails?
Well, no, sometimes there's not room in the drawer. Sometimes
So you don't file them, you throw them away?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, oh, you've confused me horribly now. What was the question?
I've forgotten.
Yeah.
You moved the honey. I remember you moving the honey onto the shelf. Did you do that? At what point did you do it? Can you remember what point you did it?
No, I think it was when Carol popped into the office.
Yes.
I just popped out to rinse my nails off because
I
to
see.
get
Thank you.
somebody.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, David Nixon. Yes, Anna Dawson.
Venetia, you seem very anxious to get Mr. Rathouse into trouble.
Yes, well, I just don't like him very much.
I see. Why?
Well, mainly because he's a liar and he's a capitalist.
How do you know he's a liar?
Well, because when I was listening at the door, he refused to acknowledge that he had need for the money.
Ah. Cute.
Yes, oh, there we are. There goes the buzzer, and this is for Cardew and Anna. You asked for the part where Carol Hinchbank, or is it Stinkbank? I can't work it out. she goes into the kitchenette to make the tea, and those of you who believe in one for the pot won't enjoy this. Keep watching. There it is, the two of you. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, Anna.
You didn't put any milk in the tea?
Well, no, I was just setting it up at that
But later
point.
on you didn't?
No, I didn't. I put honey in.
Just the honey?
Just the
That's
honey.
all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Joyce.
Carol, didn't you notice that the tea bag had changed, that the little tab was no longer outside? Didn't you think how it could have sort of fallen in?
No, I didn't. I was in quite a rush. The meeting was just about to start, and I was rather intent on getting it made and taking it to him. I didn't notice anything.
And when did you actually throw the tea bag out?
Ah, well, just after I'd finished putting the honey in, topping it up with water, Then I must have thrown the tea bag away. I don't actually remember doing it.
Did you do it with your fingers or with a spoon?
I usually do it with fingers and spoon.
You don't actually wind that little tab round it to squeeze it like that?
No, I don't.
Yes, David Nixon.
Monsieur Luce,
Oui, monsieur.
do you still have the little tea bag with these small perforations in your pocket?
Oh.
Merde.
I must warn you that this show is seen in France as well.
Oh, pardon. Pardon.
And they know what their word means. Now, does it still, Monsieur Charrier, would you give a wee sniff at that bag and tell me, does it still smell of strychnine?
Fantastic.
Almonds?
I don't know what strychnine smells like.
Almonds.
Yes, well, there you are. There's a good answer, can't you?
Monsieur Charrier, hello. Ça va bien?
Ça va, ça va. Oh, you speak French.
Oh, yes, I speak French.
With a lovely Spanish accent. Fantastic.
I know things like Mel de Mer, I'm sick of my mother. Montparnasse, my father's country seat. I want to ask you a personal question.
Oui, monsieur.
What is that ribbon for?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I was given this for bravery. You see, bravery runs in my family, and I run the fastest.
Yes, Joyce.
Yes, Monsieur Charrier, have you ever considered going into politics?
Well, I think I have the right attributes, I must admit.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know, in French politics, I like the English, some of the English, you know, that fellow, the economy guy with the eyebrows, Mike Yarwood. I like him.
Yeah, he's
but I don't think much about French politics.
Politician.
No.
Yes, David Nixon, yeah?
I was wondering if I could ask Karen a question, please. Can you tell me, why did you pour the whiskey in the den when you knew that your father's favourite kind of whiskey was in his desk? You must have known that.
Yes, I did. Well, in fact, he was in conference with Otto at the time, if you remember, and I didn't really feel I could interrupt.
Was he a fussy man about his brand of whiskey?
Yes, he was, but, I mean, my idea was to frankly give him a whiskey. I wasn't fond enough of him to care which brand it was I gave him.
Well, he couldn't have been very fussy because, if I remember rightly, one of the bottles said Old Grey Donkey or something on it. But maybe that's just to get around the advertising laws. Yes.
I didn't notice.
Yes.
Yes. There it goes. That is the bell, which is no doubt tolling for Philip Cunningham. And it means also that it's time for the panel to write down whodunit and any red herrings that they shouldn't have spotted. Clues would be preferable, panel, please. Meanwhile, here's the For Your Eyes Only clip to help you change your mind or make it up, maybe. It's a visual clue, so don't worry about what you hear. Just look.
I wish that boy would leave things where he found them.
Well, did you spot it? Something had changed from an earlier part of the story. Right, now have your cards, please. Thank you. Yes, well, I have their cards. As most of them completely illegible, I'll have to trust them, won't I? Cardew, who done it and why?
Well, I don't like to be ungallant, but I'm afraid I think it's Carol Hinchbank. And it all revolves, in my mind, at business around the milk and the honey. And all that business about we can't put milk in at the same time as honey, because everybody knows milk and honey, what can be better than that? It's superb. And strychnine, that is the most lightning poison of all. That would have worked, of all the possible poison, that would have worked the quickest. And finally, you are the only one without a motive. And we all know that in every murder play, the only one who's a cert is the one who's got no motive. So I'm saying it's you.
Thank you, Cardew. Yes, Anna Dawson.
Yeah, I had thoughts about Carol, but I think Bobby did it. I think the tea was poisoned. It wasn't the milk, because there was no milk in it. The honey was tasted. I think the tea bags were changed over. When you were filing your nails, you nipped in, you changed the tea bags over. But you were a bit naughty, because you put in one without a tail. When she was making the tea, there was one with a tail over the edge, and when he tasted it, there wasn't a tail on it.
Thank you, Anna Dawson. David Nixon.
I think.
Well, I thought at first that it was Otto because he is so magnificently sinister. In a very professional way, sir, may I add. But then I felt that that was a box of red herrings that he was opening, not cigars. It was too complicated. And I think I agree with Anna that Bobby is the fella. I think he's a rotten shot because he was aiming over his dad's shoulder. But he's a very good actor because I saw him chatting up the birds in the canteen earlier today.
Thank you very much indeed.
I think Bobby done it.
Bobby done it, yes. Joyce Blair.
Well, I think, actually, the three children did it. Bobby, Venetia and Karen. I think they knew about Carol's intentions to marry their father, and they were all in cahoots. I think when Venetia went and saw that the milk had been tampered with, and Bobby actually tampered with it when Carol was out of the kitchen and he was pretending to file his nails and he nipped in. And I think they covered it with Karen with the... I think everything was poisoned. I think whatever that poor man would have touched, he'd have died.
Thank you very much, Joyce Blair. Very comical answers. Now we will find out the real truth. So will the real whodunit or dunnits stand up, please?
No, don't worry, this time I know I'm right. It's him. I know it's him.
No!
Well, there we are. Yes, indeed, it was Bobby. Congratulations, David and Anna. Marvellous, David. First time on the programme, dead on the button. Well done. Good. Congratulations, both of you. I'm sorry, you other two. Hopelessly wrong. How do you... Boom. Right. Well, of course, they were all trying to do him in, but you could forget the poisoned whiskey as Karen tasted it after she'd poured it. Otto's penknife was inserted into the left-hand side of the cigar box, but Philip took the cigar from the right. Venetia poisoned the milk, but there wasn't any milk in the tea. Carol had no motive, so that, of course, leaves poor Bobby, who did his dad in with a tea bag. You should have noticed that when Carol put the tea bag into the cup, it had string and a label attached to it. When she came back from Philip's office, the tea bag had no string attached. The only person who could have swapped them over was Bobby, because he was left alone in Carol's office. The gun, by the way, was just a ploy. If he was seen attempting to kill his father, no one would suspect that he had another trick, or rather another tea bag, up his sleeve. But if you found that a bit confusing, don't worry, Charrier still hasn't got it right. And that, I'm afraid, is the end of the present series, so it's good night from our panel and our cast. And though I can't condone the idea of killing your father, I can leave you with a little advice if you happen to have an outsized mother-in-law. Put her on a 7-day exercise course, get her to walk 2 miles every morning and 2 miles every evening, and by the end of the week, she'll be 28 miles away. Good night.